Hi, welcome to the first of 3 short videos entitled 3 Simple Steps to Permanent Fat Loss. Now, this one is going to be all about nutrition, and when I thought about making this, the first thing that came to mind was I could just give you my top 10 foods that you should be eating to aid fat loss. But then it struck me that that would probably be insulting your intelligence, because I'm sure that you actually know that. You've read all of the articles, we're bombarded with stuff on the internet, books, all sorts of different diet programs. So I'm sure you already know pretty much what you should and shouldn't be eating. So what this is all about is really trying to give you some practical strategies that is really going to help you take a step forwards and decide on the actual action that you're going to take that's really going to help you personally. So the first thing we're going to do is look at 7 steps. And the first one is deciding exactly what healthy eating means to you. Now, this is going to be different for everybody. So I want you to get a piece of paper and a pen and actually write down 8 to 10 things that healthy eating means to you. Maybe it might be things such as making sure that you drink 2 to 3 litres of water a day. It might be controlling the amount of starchy carbohydrates that you eat, keeping them down to between about 150 grams a day. Maybe it's something like increasing the amount of protein that you eat. It might not be that technical. It might be more practical. It might be looking at enjoying 3 meals a day. Perhaps maybe eating with your family 3 to 5 times a week. Maybe being prepared with your lunches, so you maybe take them to work with you so that you resist the temptation of going out at lunchtime and then making poor food choices. So whatever it means to you, write down 8 to 10 things. Now, step 2 is actually looking at where you're at right now, and the best way to do that is to keep a 7-day food diary. Now, sometimes when I suggest that to clients, I get a real, particularly when they're ladies, I get a real look of horror that, oh, that's far too much. But if that seems like too much of a mountain to climb, too much organisation, do it for 3 days. So choose 2 days during the week, and then maybe your best day at the weekend. So have a notepad with you, write down absolutely everything that you eat and drink, or you could even actually use your phone and take photographs. That's actually a really good way of doing it too. So really record exactly where you're at the moment. Step 3 is looking and comparing step 1 and 2. And looking at what things you could change. Maybe in step 1 you put something like, I want to make sure that I drink 2 to 3 litres of water a day. And actually when you look at your food diary, the only fluids that you've consumed maybe is in the form of tea or coffee. It might be that you've said that it's important to be prepared for lunch, and actually you've grabbed a sandwich at lunchtime every day. Things like that. So note down what you could actually change, what are the discrepancies between the 2 things. And you might have quite a few things down there. So we don't want to overhaul everything all in one go, because we know that that is just not sustainable. You're going to completely freak out, and when you have a bad day, you'll just go right the way back to square one. So it's looking at that list of things that you could change and actually deciding on 1 or 2 things that you are going to change and you are going to deal with over the next few weeks, and actually writing down what those 2 things are. Step 4 is not necessarily about what you're eating, but it's more about those socio-emotional factors that can actually get in the way and sabotage your best efforts. So it's really looking at where you are or who you're with when you're at your worst. you might work in a big office, and that brings along the problem that you'll have a lot of birthdays, and it's really common for people to bring cake and etc. So, you might be finding that every day of the week you're consuming a piece of birthday cake. You might find that on your way home from work, every day you take the same route and you go past the same petrol station, and regardless of whether you want fuel or not, you find yourself going in on maybe the excuse you're picking up a paper, and whilst you're queuing to pay for it, you end up giving in to the temptation of the chocolate bar or the fizzy drink or whatever it is. It might be, as a mum, that you maybe make more than one meal in the evening. You maybe feed the kids first and maybe wait for your husband or partner to come home. And you find that actually you're making the food for the kids, and then you find yourself picking at their leftovers or whatever. I've actually done this quite a lot myself, and yeah, you end up consuming nearly a whole meal's worth of calories just through picking. So it's really looking at those situations that can really sabotage your best efforts that you make during the rest of the day. Step 5 is a little bit like step 3. It's looking at those situations and looking at what you could actually change to give yourself the best shot at actually sticking to your plan. It might be just taking a different route home from work. It may be as simple as actually telling a friend that you're planning on losing some weight, and we've all got a friend like this who you tell that you've got a goal, and they will remind you of that goal every time they meet you. They'll ask how it's going, and that can also help with accountability. It may just be telling work colleagues that you're making an effort at addressing some of your nutrition habits, and please don't offer me the birthday cake. I'll come and wish you a happy birthday, but don't offer me any cake. Little things like that. So those small things could make quite a big difference. Step 6 is all about tracking progress. So by now you've got sort of 2 to 4 things that really you're going to try and change. And it's really important, particularly when you have a bad day and things don't go to plan, to have a look at how well you're doing. So maybe something just as simple as putting up a small chart on the fridge door or inside your wardrobe with your goals down the side, and giving yourself a tick every day that you manage to achieve those things. Because then when you do have a bad day and you feel like throwing the towel in, you can actually just have a quick look at it and actually see how far you've come. Step 7 is about reviewing and rewarding yourself. So from the very beginning of the process, you really want to put a date in your diary when you're going to have a good look at how you're doing. And when you look at that, you're going to review and decide if anything needs adjusting and adjust appropriately, and then also reward yourself with something. Perhaps not a big chocolate bar or piece of cake, but something, I don't know, indulgent as a nice warm bath, or maybe a manicure, or maybe just a bit of time to read your book, just something so that you reward your best efforts. So I really hope that you found this useful. Just to recap, step 1 is really looking at what healthy eating means to you. Step 2 is really assessing where you're at right now. And step 3 is actually looking at any discrepancies between those 2 steps. Step 4 is looking at those socio-emotional factors that can really sabotage your best efforts. And step 5 again is looking at things that you can change to give you the best chance at success. Step 6 is making sure that you've got a record of your achievements. And step 7 is making sure that you put a date in your diary where you're going to review and check out how well you're doing. I hope you've enjoyed that, and it's going to be useful, and I'll see you for the next video.